Warriors fans, things around Golden State are getting more and more interesting. And once again, the spotlight is on Jonathan Kaminga and his uncertain future with the team. But what really stirred the conversation this time was none other than Steph Curry himself. Whenever the face of the franchise talks, even if it's in his usual calm and measured way, people pay attention, and the meaning behind his words can sometimes be just as important as the words themselves. And let's be real, Steph rarely shows all of his cards. He's the definition of a professional, always careful about how much he reveals. But even in those careful answers, there are clues about where things might be headed. Recently, Curry was asked about the Kaminga situation, and while he didn't dive into details, the way he framed things was very telling. He mentioned that there are conversations happening internally, conversations that aren't for the public eye, and that's the way the Warriors like to operate. He also stressed how he, Draymond Green, and Jimmy Butler are locked in, preparing themselves to lead this squad the way they're supposed to. But notice what wasn't said. There was no passionate defense of Jonathan Kaminga, no urgency about making sure he's back in a Warriors jersey. It almost felt like Steph was sidestepping the whole subject. Now, if we look at Curry's history, he's usually not shy about supporting teammates he truly believes are essential for the team's success. Think about moments in the past when he's gone out of his way to show support for role players or even lobby for certain guys to get their recognition. This time, though, the vibe is different. Instead of hearing, "We need Kaminga here with us," what we get is a much more neutral tone, almost like whatever happens, happens. Back in May, Steph gave a similar kind of answer, saying he hoped Kaminga's future would be bright whether that was in Golden State or somewhere else. That's not exactly a ringing endorsement, is it? That's more of a polite way of saying, if he's here, cool, if not, life goes on. And when you really think about it, there are reasons for that. Why was Kaminga riding the bench at the end of last season? Why did he rack up so many DNPs during the playoffs? The truth is, he just didn't mesh well on the floor next to one of the 10 greatest players in basketball history. When you're sharing the court with Steph Curry, your number one job is to set him up for success, because when Steph thrives, the entire Warriors system thrives. Instead, Kaminga often looked for his own shot, breaking the flow of the offense. There was even that moment late in the season against Portland where multiple sources said the coaching staff, and especially Steve Kerr, were furious after Kaminga repeatedly looked off Curry to go ISO and create for himself. You don't have to be inside the locker room to know that's the kind of thing that rubs teammates the wrong way. Do we really believe Steph just sat back quietly through all of that? Come on. He may not have been the one to hand Kaminga those DNPs, but you can bet he had conversations with Kerr about how the young forward style was hurting the team. And that's the bigger problem. Kaminga, for all his athletic gifts, doesn't fit seamlessly next to Steph, doesn't fit alongside Jimmy, and doesn't fit next to Draymond either. He wants to prove himself, to put up numbers, to show that he's capable of being the guy. But in Golden State's system, it's not about being the guy. It's about being part of a machine where everyone's movement, every cut, every screen is designed to create space and maximize Steph's brilliance. Kaminga, at least so far, hasn't shown he wants to buy into that. Instead, he seems more focused on how the box score looks next to his name. And this isn't just one person's opinion. Around the league, voices have been echoing the same thought. Kaminga looks more like a high-volume scorer who would shine on a weaker team where he can take as many shots as he wants. That's not a bad thing. It's just not what the Warriors need right now. In fact, Draymond Green has been the only real vocal supporter of Kaminga during this whole saga, and even he has started to sound cautious. Draymond praised the kid's talent and work ethic, but also acknowledged that a serious financial commitment is coming, and it might not make sense for Golden State. In other words, he gave him his flowers while subtly hinting that maybe the best path for Kaminga is outside the Bay Area. Think about that. Two of the Warriors' biggest leaders, Steph and Draymond, have spoken about Kaminga this offseason, and not once have we heard those magic words, "We need him back." Not once has either of them said, "I can't win without Jonathan Kaminga on this roster." That silence says more than any direct quote could. If your franchise cornerstone isn't campaigning for your return, and your emotional leader is giving you compliments while talking about the possibility of moving on, that tells you where the organization stands. Steph and Curry the golden boy of the Golden State Warriors, has reportedly voiced a striking opinion that has sent tremors through the NBA landscape. Sources close to the team hint that Curry is increasingly frustrated with the current roster setup, particularly with LINDY Waters III. Insiders whisper that the two players' styles and court chemistry have been clashing for some time, creating tension in what has historically been one of the most celebrated backcourts in the league. Observers note that Curry's dominance and influence in the Warriors' locker room make his voice nearly impossible to ignore, and whispers suggest that management may now be under pressure to make roster adjustments that previously would have seemed unlikely. There are murmurs that Curry's frustration stems not only from on-court disagreements, but also from a growing perception that Waters' defensive assignments and offensive decision-making are limiting the team's overall efficiency. Sports analysts are debating whether this revelation will precipitate a trade, bench reshuffling, or a strategic compromise, with some arguing that Curry's insistence might reflect a deeper need for control over the team's direction. Fans are already buzzing on social media, debating whether Curry's ultimatum is a sign of leadership, ego, or strategic foresight, and every report seems to fuel more speculation rather than clarify the situation. The arena of rumor and speculation has never been more alive around the Warriors than it is now, with each whispered source amplifying the tension and curiosity around how this situation will unfold. The news that Curry reportedly refuses to play alongside Waters III has set off an entire chain reaction of speculation and conjecture among basketball insiders and fans alike. Analysts are dissecting every potential motive behind Curry's statement, debating whether it signals dissatisfaction with Waters' performance or a broader critique of the team's strategy and roster construction. Some speculate that Curry sees a misalignment in playing philosophy, suggesting that Waters' tendencies to take mid-range shots or hesitate on ball movement disrupt the Warriors' fast-paced offensive schemes. Others argue that the root of the tension may lie in defensive responsibilities, with whispers that Waters struggles to match Curry's elite perimeter defense expectations, leaving gaps that opponents exploit. Beyond tactical issues, sports journalists hint at potential personal friction, suggesting that personality clashes and locker room dynamics may have contributed to Curry's reported ultimatum. Rumors abound that team management has convened emergency meetings to gauge Curry's seriousness and assess potential trade options, with insiders suggesting that the front office may feel caught between loyalty to a star player and commitment to nurturing young talent like Waters. Social media forums are flooded with fan theories, some defending Curry's authority and experience, while others sympathize with Waters' predicament, framing the situation as a test of leadership and temperament. In every corner of NBA reporting, the narrative is expanding, fueled by cryptic quotes, unnamed sources, and a palpable sense of anticipation about whether the Warriors will pivot dramatically in response. The swirling cloud of rumors shows no signs of dissipating, reflecting the intense pressure and scrutiny that surround a team as high-profile as Golden State. Whispers from the Warriors camp suggest that this conflict between Curry and Waters is not a sudden development, but a gradual escalation that has quietly simmered over multiple games. Observers note that Curry's ability to orchestrate plays and control tempo on the court is unparalleled, and even small misalignments with teammates can become magnified under such an influential presence. Reports indicate that during practice sessions, tension has occasionally flared, with Curry reportedly expressing impatience over Waters' decisions in high-pressure moments. Basketball pundits speculate that this friction might have subtle implications for team chemistry, potentially affecting not only offensive sets, but also defensive rotations and overall cohesion. Sources close to the locker room hint that other teammates are aware of the discord, but are caught in a delicate balance, reluctant to take sides, yet sensing the growing tension between the franchise icon and the younger guard. Rumors suggest that management may now be considering creative solutions, such as redefining player roles, exploring trade markets, or even offering Waters mentorship programs to better align with Curry's expectations. Meanwhile, social media commentary has taken on a life of its own, with fans and commentators dissecting every game highlight for evidence of strain or synergy between Curry and Waters. The intrigue is heightened by the Warriors' status as perennial championship contenders, where even minor rifts can feel amplified under the intense spotlight. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.